You never lost any games and you're number one pick. Okay, I get it. So, Acho, can Trevor Lawrence live up to the hype in Jacksonville?
Yes, sir, he can, but no, sir, not in Jacksonville. I had to be nice first. You know, people be so sensitive these days. Trevor Lawrence can and will live up to the height of his career.
Don't do that.
But he's not going to do it in Jacksonville. Still, 22 quarterbacks have been number one overall. Now, 22 quarterbacks have been picked number one overall in the last 40 years. 4 have winning playoff records: John Elway, Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, and Troy Aikman. Remember, Eli Manning had to finesse his own situation. So really, that's three of the 22 quarterbacks over the last 40 years. This isn't some sort of like statistical thing that should marvel you. No, it's really relative common sense. Your success in life isn't exclusively dependent upon your talent level. Environment matters. Now, you can still succeed in a poor environment, but if you have that same level of talent in a environment conducive to success, you might succeed at a higher clip.
Say it.
So success is not exclusively dependent on talent. Environment matters. We see that at the quarterback position. Carson Palmer, he enjoyed some success in Cincy, but it was really when he went to Arizona with Bruce Arians that he enjoyed his greatest success, won more games than he had ever won, threw for more passing yards and passing touchdowns than he ever had. You just look throughout the course of history. Alex Smith, he enjoyed some success by his 5th or 6th year in San Fran. But when did he really enjoy his height of consistent success by record? I'm not talking about an NFC Championship game. I'm talking about by record when he went to Kansas City with the Chiefs. So you can just look historically at number one overall picks. They do enjoy their success, but oftentimes they enjoy their highest level of success when they go elsewhere. So is Trevor Lawrence going to ball? He absolutely is going to ball. But is he going to ball in Jacksonville? I'm not convinced.
Man. You know I stopped listening to you because you start talking about my hood, my home. Duval, you know I used to live in Jacksonville. I ain't really play. I like to tell people my last 2 years was a paid vacation, but I still got love for Jacksonville. And I got love for Trevor Lawrence living up to the hype in Jacksonville. Yes. Because first of all, what hype? Like, who in the hell is expecting anything out of Jacksonville? So everything that he does is going to hit. I remind you that Blake Bortles hit in Jacksonville. I remind you Blake Bortles had in his second year, what was that, 35 touchdowns, 18 interceptions for Blake Bortles.
He got a hit. He got a hit.
Okay, wait a minute. That was Blake Bortles. Yeah, that was him on a losing team. And then they went out there and won 10 games and had New England on them ropes. Remember that? They should have won that game, damn it. But Blake Bortles hit-ish in Jacksonville. You think Trevor Lawrence can't do it? You think he can't go out there and make something happen out there with low expectations? Let me tell you about expectations, because you love to harp on that. Expectations is what you should judge somebody by. And I'm like, man, what the hell? I don't care what other people think about me. But I do equate expectations to light. And it's like the sunrise. It's bright compared to the night, but not as bright as high noon. Think about it when you first wake up and it's dark and you see sunrise. I hope you're up that early. Sunrise, I'm preparing. Sunrise, I'm getting right. Sunrise, and you're like, oh, I don't want to look. It ain't that damn bright. It ain't high noon. But guess what? That little light right there is going to be something that could be blinding based on the expectations and more so based on their circumstances. Now, you start to roll and snowball because you have a tremendous talent at quarterback, most important position. And all of a sudden, he looks around and says, do I have any talent? You know, a quarterback, young quarterback, what do they need? A running game, right? Do they have a running game?
They do.
Oh, they do. You know what? James Robinson in the building. You know who James Robinson is? I bet no show has ever talked about James Robinson until this moment. Everyone talks about Jonathan Taylor, right? But James Robinson was the other rookie running back that went out there and rushed for 1,000+ yards. Him and Jonathan Taylor. So there's a little to build on in Jacksonville as that sun continues to rise. Got to bring in Fox NFL analyst Bucky Brooks. So, Bucky, can Trevor Lawrence live up to the hype in Jacksonville?
Absolutely. And I got distracted because you were talking about lights or whatever, and all I could think about was this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. And I think that's what Trevor Lawrence is going to do when he hits Jacksonville. When he gets to Jacksonville as the number one overall pick, he gets there, and it coincides with the arrival of Urban Meyer. And so when you're trying to change a culture, it is easier for a coach to change a culture when the number one player is also in lockstep with what you represent. So when I think about Trevor Lawrence, I think about a few different things. One, he's a 5-star player. He has outstanding arm talent, great athlete, tremendous IQ, terrific playmaking ability, and he's super competitive. 30.2 as a starter in college, going all the way back to high school. All he's ever done is win. His poise is undeniable. He's unflappable. He's been a guy that's been celebrated and hailed as the #1 quarterback since he was a mid-teenager. So the stage isn't too big for him. The lights aren't too bright. And when I think about this situation with Urban Meyer, because I think you guys brought it up, I can't remember, maybe Audra brought up Troy Aikman, or one of the only guys to be able to be a #1 pick and rejuvenate it. He is the Troy Aikman to Jimmy Johnson as Trevor Lawrence is to Urban Meyer. Two very successful people getting together, collaborating. But for this to happen, they have to acquire the 3 Ps, meaning it has to be about the protection up front. The Jacksonville Jaguars offensive line is solid. It has to be about the playmakers. We can talk about some of the guys that they already have on the outside. DJ Chark, a second-year player, Laviska Shenault. They brought over Marvin Jones. And then it's about the play caller, Darrell Bevell. Remember, Darrell Bevell is the former offensive coordinator of one of Acho's favorite guys, Russell Wilson. He actually was the offensive coordinator when Russell Wilson helped the Seattle Seahawks win a Super Bowl. So all of the things are in place for this environment to allow Trevor Lawrence to be at his best and this team to play well as a result.
That sounds great, and you made that sound very well, as eloquently as you said it. But, Bucky, if you standing on top of a chair and I say, hey, Bucky, pull me up, you will struggle. But if I'm standing on the ground as you stand on top of a chair, it will be much easier for me to pull you down. Because it's always easier to be pulled down in life than it is to lift somebody up. So, Bucky Brooks, when I look at the Jaguars, who have lost 10 games in 9 of their last 10 seasons, at least 10 games, I say, wait a second, it's easier for them to pull Trevor Lawrence down. When I look at the Jaguars, who have the worst record in the NFL over the last 3 seasons at 12-36, I say, wait a second, Buggy, it's easier for the Jaguars to pull Trevor Lawrence down. When I say the Jaguars haven't been to a Super Bowl in their 26 years of existence, I say, wait a second, Bucky Brooks, it is easier for the Jaguars to pull Trevor Lawrence down. It's not that Trevor Lawrence is not excellent. Let's make no mistake about that. It's not that Urban Meyer hasn't proven to be an excellent coach. But in life, personal life, romantic life, spiritual life, emotional life, in football, it's easier to be pulled down than it is to lift somebody else up. Trevor Lawrence going to have a hard time lifting them Jags up, y'all.
Oh, look, he may have a hard time, and I'm sure one day you sat at the dinner table, your mom and dad told you, hey, you have to be wary of the crabs in the bucket. They'll always pull you down. And I'm sure sometimes in your life the haters were at you, but you found a way to overcome it. Here's what's beautiful about this situation. You have a brand new situation being created in Jacksonville. Out with the old, in with the new. New coach, new general manager, new quarterback, new ideology, new thoughts, new processes. You're bringing in new players. You have a wealth of draft capital to completely reinvent the Jaguars as we know it. Marcellus has been down in Jacksonville. He understands what Duval represents, and he also understands, man, this city is clamoring. They're desperate for a winner. Trevor Lawrence is the ultimate winner. He won as a freshman a national title. He has consistently been in the mix and had his team in the conversation to be a national titleist. I have the utmost confidence that the success that he was able to have at Clemson will continue when he lands in Jacksonville.
Say it again, Bucky, with your new money. I see that new suit. I see that new studio. I see all of these checks cashing.
It's not. You guys make me, it made me do my thing.
You know what I mean? That PPE check coming in, whatever the hell they call them things. Look, Bucky, stop. You ain't got to tell me twice.